There is a story today in the Politico. Teflon Don confounds Democrats. Democrats have attacked the president every which way, but polling and focus groups show that none of it is working. In addition, Rasmussen has just come out with a poll. I printed it out here. And guess what? A majority of most voters, not Trump supporters, they're in this, but this is a sample of most voters welcome Trump's outreach to congressional Democrats. Now, the conventional wisdom is that Trump's hurting himself, that Trump's base, who are they? If you believe the media, Trump's base, a bunch of Neanderthal, white supremacist right-wingers, and that they hate and they despise and they're dumb and they're stupid and they're knuckle draggers, and that they will defend Trump no matter what he does. And they are a vast majority of the American population, except they can't explain how that group of people elected Trump. But that's what they tell themselves. They lie to themselves about their opponents. They lie to themselves about themselves and their own supporters. Despite their failure to advance Trump's agenda, congressional Republicans aren't happy about his outreach to Democrats. Paul Ryan, in fact, it has been learned that Ryan has told people at private fundraisers and private gatherings, and this is not a surprise, folks. At least it didn't surprise me when I ran into it, that Paul Ryan has said that there is no chance for a border wall. It's never going to happen. And the Republicans are never going to help Trump do this. And, of course, these private dinners are where fundraisers are taking place. This is where donors are. And Ryan was assuring them, not a surprise to us. We know that the Republican Party doesn't want to help Trump advance his agenda. But the Democrats, Chuck and Nancy, after their successful powwow with Trump on the debt ceiling, and Trump loved it because something got done. Trump's a doer. He's not an ideologue. He liked getting something done. The Republicans are not helping him get anything done. So now we went to work with the Democrats, and Rasmussen's gone out and polled it, and they have found out 66% of likely U.S. voters say it is good for the country if Trump works with congressional Democrats to advance his agenda. Just 13% think that the bipartisan cooperation, i.e. Trump working with Democrats, is bad. 21% are undecided. Now, likely voters that's not a precise sample. You really want registered voters. Likely voters doesn't include people that definitely do vote. And so what they think doesn't matter as much if they're only likely to vote. But you have a pool of registered voters, likely voters, more guaranteed, and that is a better sample. And only 19% here believe the president should continue to rely on congressional Republicans to pass his agenda. This has always been, in my mind, has always been the danger. Trump, because he's not an ideologue, meaning he does a lot of things that people like me and conservatives applaud, but he's not one of us. He's a doer. He will work with people to help get things done. He knows what got him elected. He knows the wall. He knows repealing and replacing Obamacare tax. He knows that stuff. But if he's working with people who aren't going to help him get it done, what good are they to him? And that's who the Republicans are. So here come Chuck and Nancy. Chuck and Nancy are willing to help Trump get things done. And Chuck and Nancy are wily. Chuck and Nancy also know that Trump's not an ideologue. And they can see that the Republicans don't want to help Trump because the Republicans are scared to death of being tied to any success that Trump would have. I know that sounds strange, but don't doubt me. So Chuck and Nancy come along. Well, mainly Chuck, because I don't think Nancy knows what day it is now. But Chuck brings her along, because she's a leader of the House Democrats. But I don't think Nancy, she's okay. But Chuck brings her along, and Chuck looks at the Republicans. He says, look, these people are hell-bent on making sure this guy doesn't get anything done. But we know he wants to get things done. We'll help him get things done, and we'll help get things done that we want. Because Trump wants things to get done. And as long as we approach it right, and now, ergo, we're talking about amnesty for the Dreamers and DACA. And now we got the White House saying, oh, don't be silly here. Trump's always supported amnesty. No, not for everybody. The amnesty that he's talked about has been for a select few, DACA, Dreamers, kids, this kind of thing. But the anger, I'll tell you what, when this Rasmussen survey, we'll give it some weight. I mean, it's as good as any polling unit out there. None of them really have a firm foundation of authoritative accuracy going for them right now. So we'll deal with this. 66% of the American people are fine with Trump reaching out to Democrats. One of the factors here is that Trump really does appear to be Teflon. I mean, no matter what, it just doesn't stick to him. That's what the Democrats said about Reagan, and they hated Reagan for that. No matter what he did, nothing stuck to him. It looks like Trump is practically the same. And why would that be? Well, you can't forget the people that voted for Trump. And I don't mean you personally, talking generically, the people who continually in their minds or in the way they speak make fun of the people that voted for Trump. If you think that Trump's voters are a bunch of hayseed know-nothings who are steeped deep in racism and bigotry and all of the usual cliches that the Democrats throw out, you're underestimating dramatically who they are. They are people who pay attention, and they are fed up with the way Washington has not been functioning. Or has been, either way. And Trump represents a brand new, fresh start by somebody that's not been tainted by membership in the swamp. And as such, there are people in this country who truly believe that we are on the verge of losing the country as founded. That's laughed at, mocked, joked about. But these people that elected Trump believe it. And so they are personally invested in Trump, and they believe that Trump is going to do things that'll make things better, and whoever he has to work with to get them done, according to Rasmussen, that's what they'll support. The Republicans are harming themselves in ways here that I don't even think they are aware of, and the Democrats are too. With these hurricane telethons and this never-ending assault on Trump. This Politico story, which I'm going to get back to in a jiffy, is amazing. It details everything they've thrown at Trump and how none of it is working. Every Democrat thing that's always worked to destroy Republican opponents in the past, none of it is working, which you need to ask, well, why? And, of course, there is an answer, and I, El Rushbo, have the answer. We'll get to that and much more. After we take a brief time out, we'll start working your phone calls into the mix. Don't go away, folks. We're coming right back. Now, I've been trying to get back to this Politico story since the first hour, and it's a perfect time to do it now since we have added all of the Hillary news and revelations today. 3 things. First, I just saw that Trump is hosting Chuck and Nancy tonight for dinner in the White House. And Chuck and Nancy are coming up to talk tax reform. Not Mitch and Paul, but Chuck and Nancy. Remember the Rasmussen Report survey. Here are my formerly nicotine-stained fingers. Most Republican voters welcome Trump's outreach to congressional Democrats. It's Rasmussen. I can see this in a sense. We talked about it earlier, but I just reminding you of it. Now, the Politico story, Teflon Don confounds Democrats. Democrats have attacked the president every which way, but polling and focus groups show that none of it is working. None of it. Trump should have been. There is, I don't think, a modern American president, Nixon maybe, during the confined period of Watergate. Outside of that, I don't think there is a president, certainly in our lifetimes. I mean, it was brutal back in the days of the Civil War, but journalism. I don't think there's a president in our lifetimes who has been the subject of a never-ending 24/7 assault since the day he won his party's nomination, then the election. I don't think anybody has had to go through what Trump has gone through. Just the lies, the distortions, the rumors, the leaks, the untruths, the allegations that his election was illegitimate because of collaboration, collusion with the Russians, Vladimir Putin. I mean, it's never ended. And they go with something until it dies, and they pick something else up, and they go back to the Russians and get distracted. Special prosecutor, they've invested they've shot everything they have. And he's still sitting there with an approval number of 45 to 48%. They were able to knock George Bush's numbers down into the 30s with 4 consecutive years of pounding Bush on the Gulf or on the Iraq War. So what's the difference? Why are they not able? Why is all of this bouncing off Trump? Why is it not working? Well, there's an answer, I think. But first, some of the details in the story. It's written by Edward Isaac Dovere. Democrats tried attacking Trump as unfit. They made the case he's ineffective, pointing to his failure to sign a single major piece of legislation, even 8 months into the gig. They've argued he's using the presidency to make himself rich, that his campaign was in cahoots with Russia, and none of it's working. Data from a range of focus groups and internal polling data in swing states paint a difficult picture for the Democrat Party heading into the 2018 midterms and the 2020 presidential race. But it's important. The Democrats, until they read this, actually, in their private moments, cloakrooms, where they talk to each other, they know it isn't working. And I guarantee you they're befuddled and they're confused and they don't understand. That's why they're piling on. They think, maybe we're not hitting them hard enough, and they ratchet it up. But they, in their less than lucid moments, I think some of them really believe they're skating now to 2018. I think they believe that they have ruined Trump, and they've destroyed Trump and his ability to campaign, raise money for other people, other Republicans. They have the ability to lie to themselves and pat themselves on the back. But the truth of the matter is that none of this, and this is their playbook, they have not gone after Trump on policy. They've not tried to say that their policies are better, because they don't have any that they want to publicize. It's been purely personal. They've done nothing but try to destroy Trump, the man, the human being, the presidency and his career, and his life's work, and his family. I mean, they have gone after everybody. His wife, even his 13-year-old son. Data from a range of focus groups and internal polls paints a difficult picture for the Democrats in 2018, suggests that Democrats are naive if they believe that Trump's low approval numbers mean a landslide for them is coming. The Democrats are defending 10 Senate seats in states that Trump won. They need to flip 24 seats in the House to take control there. The research conducted by private firms for Democrat campaign arms is rarely made public, but it was described to Politico in interviews with a dozen top operatives who have analyzed the results coming in. So they won't show the data to Politico, but they'll tell them what's in it, and they've done so. Anson Kay, a strategist at the media firm GMMB, worked on Obama and Clinton campaigns, said if that's the attitude that's driving the Democrat Party, we're gonna drive right into the ocean. Meaning, if they think they're headed for a landslide win, they are totally mistaken. Worse news: many of the ideas that party leaders have latched onto in an attempt to appeal to their lost voters, free college tuition, raising the minimum wage to $15, even Medicaid for all three of those have tested poorly outside the Democrat base. The people in these polls and focus groups tend to see those proposals as empty promises at best, meaning they don't believe college is ever going to really be free, and they don't believe that Medicare is actually going to be for everybody, and they don't believe. It's not that they don't want those things. It's that they don't believe the Democrats are going to deliver. It's Republican voters don't think their party is going to deliver either. Pollsters are shocked by how many voters describe themselves as exhausted by the constant chaos surrounding Trump. Now remember, these are Democrat polls, Democrat analysts telling Politico what they're finding. And they are finding that none of their attacks have worked. And in addition to that, they're finding the issues that they're trying to counter Trump with. Free college, free tuition, Medicare for all of it. It's not working. And they're tired of what the Democrats are doing. They're tired of the daily chaos. They're not energized by it. Now, you might say, but Rush, how do you explain Antifa, Black Lives Matter? That's not who we're talking about here. Those people are irritating everybody. That's the dirty little secret here. The military wing of the Democrat Party, this army of ne'er-do-well rioters, they're ticking off everybody and the never-ending allegations on Trump because there isn't any truth to them. It's been over a year that they have been alleging the Russians rigged the election, and nobody has been able to produce any evidence. People are worn out. And the pollsters are shocked. They are shocked. They find their strong support for a Congress that provides a check on Trump instead of voting for his agenda most of the time. But he's still viewed as an outsider shaking up the system, which people in various surveys say they like, and which Democrats don't stack up well against. Now, even though they don't like the chaos surrounding Trump, I want to read this again. The pollsters have found that there is strong support for a Congress that provides a check on Trump instead of voting for his agenda most of the time. So that's a little conflicting. If these people like the fact that Democrats are putting the brakes on Trump, then why do they dislike the chaos? Because the chaos is part of it. So that's something you have to weed through into even deeper data that would require psychological analysis to figure that out. But even beyond that, these same people like Trump because he's an outsider shaking up the system. Believe me, there is a general, malaise, that's stronger than malaise, about Washington per se. Because it is. It's a mess. Nothing seems organized. Nothing seems focused. And nothing that Washington says they're going to fix gets better. Areas of the country are improving. Things are doing well, but not because of what Washington is doing, which is by the way, the real key is things do get better when Washington isn't involved. In focus groups, most participants say they're still impressed with Trump's business background. They tend to give him credit for improving the economy. That shocks them. That shocks the Democrats. It shocks these pollsters. Now, the poll says the window's closing. Voters are still inclined to give Trump a chance to succeed. They don't want him thrown out of office. They don't want any of that. But they do believe that his business background is valuable and that the economic upturn is his credit. And more than that, no single Democrat attack on Trump is sticking. Not Russia, not collusion, not Trump enriching himself. None of it. None of these, not one of them is sticking, meaning not one of them is doing any damage. Many of the proposals Democrats are pushing fall flat in focus groups and polling. The call for free college tuition causes resentment at ivory tower elitism. People do not believe that free is ever going to happen. They think free is a lie. They think they're going to pay for it if it's free. They just don't believe it. And when you throw free guaranteed income in, that really doesn't poll well. So why? Why is none of this stuff sticking? When it apparently did to George W. Bush, and it does stick to other Republicans. Why is it not sticking to Trump, do you think? Okay, I'm going to get to the answer to the question in the next half hour while you ponder and consider why is this stuff not sticking to Trump? Because there are reasons why the Democrat assaults. I mean, it appears they're working if all you do is watch the drive-by media, but research polling data clearly it's not affecting Trump's numbers with the public. The Republicans are scared to death of it, and it's affecting them, but it really isn't working. So we'll get to that in the next half hour. In the meantime, Ron in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, great to have you. I'm glad you waited, sir. How are you doing?
Great. Yep, Rush, I voted for Donald, not because he's a Republican, my friend, because I need something done. I'm sick of since I was 18, Rush, the Republicans have let me down. Nobody. I'm Rhonda Bagman. I sell plastic bags. Your money's not Democrat. Your money's not Republican. It's green. Pay the bills. Fix something. Do something. I pay taxes for what? You tell me, Rush.
No, I get you, but let me ask you. You voted for Trump. How do you think he's doing? Are you worried? You happy?
I'm happy with him.
You're happy with him?
I'm thrilled with him. A bunch of little spoiled brats in the sandbox fighting over Tonka toys.
Okay, let me ask you a little test question. Does it bother you? Said you're not a Republican. I understand. Does it bother you that Trump is working with Chuck and Nancy on things like the debt limit and national spending?
Nope, I'm thrilled. In fact, I should be going to dinner with him to explain the real world. I'm so happy he's doing it just to irk the Republicans. The look on their faces, on Mitch's, in Ryan's face, because they didn't get to, I bet you they're pouting like spoiled little babies right now. They're all pissed.
I think you might be close.
If I'm not, I'd be amazed.
Well, I know they're irritated, but the Republicans being mad at Trump is almost the same as Hillary being mad at crazy Bernie. Trump has every reason in the world to be mad. He ran as a Republican. They won and expanded their control of the House because of him. And right after the election, I remember Speaker Ryan and others effusively praising Trump. Reince Priebus came on this show and said, I know, we've got no more excuses. And they were all out bowing down. Thank you, Trump. We're here because of Donald Trump. And it was just words. If you're Trump and you're not an ideologue and you just want to get things done and the guys supposedly on your side are not helping you, you can't help but notice. This caller's reaction, though, is fascinating in another way. Why have all of these attacks, and this is the Politico saying so, it isn't me, and you're free to disagree with the Politico. I mean, some of you may disagree, think it is hurting Trump, it's ticking me off, it makes me mad, it's causing other people to hate Trump who otherwise wouldn't. I understand that, but it's not showing up in the official polling data conducted by Trump's enemies. And in this case, I don't think they're going to lie to themselves. They want to know if their stuff's working or not, and it isn't. So why isn't it? And why did it work on Trump? May I inject myself into this to help you out in answering this? I don't ever want to make the program about me, but sometimes it's unavoidable because I'm so famous. And like this stuff on the Drudge Report today, these supposed podcasters now dethroning me. Nobody's dethroning me. They're not even close. It's just wishful thinking. But they've tried. See, this is the point. 30 years, and you lifers know every attempt they have made to damage me, to harm me, to trash me, to destroy the program. You know every effort. And you also know it hasn't worked. Why? Well, let's talk about Trump. There's one thing Trump does that no other politician has ever done that serves the purpose of thwarting every day these allegations, accusations, these literal attempts, I should say these attempts to literally destroy Trump, and that is Twitter. As much as I shrink away from social media, because I think it's a sewer, and I think it's where human debris congregate. The fact of the matter is, it's not all that. And Donald Trump has the ability every day, and uses it, to not only fight back and properly characterize the people attacking him, he also daily, multiple times a day, tweets what his agenda is and what he's trying to do and what he has done. He is doing the job an otherwise responsible media would be doing, but they aren't. He is recording his successes. He's telling about the meetings he's having, people he's talking to, the progress he's making on things. He calls out the people that are standing in his way. He explains why he's not doing this or is doing that. But that's not it alone. None of that would work. None of that would matter if there weren't something else. And that something else is what we were talking about earlier. He has a connection. All of this media attack on Trump is designed at one group, Trump supporters. They know that if they can cause you Trump supporters to abandon him, then Trump is finished. And so that's what all of these efforts have been aimed at, is you who support Trump. Just like the efforts to whatever they've been trying to do is aimed at you. They would love to have you turn this show off. They'd love to be able to prove that you're doing it. But in 30 years, you haven't and they can't. And so the question is, why? Well, in Trump's case, he has this connection. He has trust. He has believability. He has a bond with people that he built. Now, many people are famous and many people are celebrities, but many of them are so not because of anything they've done to quote unquote earn it. They have just been proclaimed. They're treated. They're written about, covered as celebrities, meaning the media makes them. Well, and when the media makes you, the media can destroy you. And this is why so many in the entertainment community salivate and genuflect and do everything they can to butter up the entertainment media, because if they turn on you, they don't have a microphone to go to. They can tweet, but nobody cares because they haven't built up a personal connection with their audience. Very few Hollywood stars have this connection. Now, their connection is of a different kind. The way to illustrate it, if people who voted for Trump saw Trump, let's say you're in an airline or an airport and you're at baggage claim, you've just arrived, and Trump is at baggage claim, he just arrived. You see Trump, you're a Trump supporter, you would think nothing of walking up and talking to him. And he would gladly welcome you to come up and talk to him. And you'd tell him, and you would think of him as your friend. You know him. And anything you talk to him about, you know he's going to understand. The context is there. And he's going to be polite, and he's going to thank you, and you're going to have a conversation. Other people are famous celebrities, but you would never approach them. You'll look at them, you'll nod, you'll touch and jab people. Look over there. I've seen this. There's no connection. There's the fame, and there's the celebrity, and there's the recognition factor, but there isn't the connection. And if the media has nothing to do with building that connection, then the media can't destroy it. And I don't know if these guys in this Politico story, these pollsters, know this. I don't know if they are aware of this particular element. I don't think they are. I think they really believed, and maybe still do, that one of these attacks is going to work. That one of these days they're going to be able to destroy Trump, in your mind. Now, our last caller said something that I think is a very crucial thing the Republican Party had better start taking seriously. I wasn't able to hear everything the guy said. I gathered he was a Republican, but he's an angry Republican. He voted for Trump, and he doesn't care that Trump is working with the Democrats. The more, the better. Trump working with Chuck and Nancy on the debts, bring it on. Trump working with Chuck and Nancy on, bring it on. Why? You hear what he said? He is so angry at the Republicans, he wants them to just have it stuck to him. Whatever it takes. He is so angry at them that if it takes Trump working with Democrats to move his agenda, he'll applaud it. That, in a political world, that is serious stuff. And Selena Zito had a column we quoted earlier in the week. She's gone out into these previously blue states, and she's talked to and she's kept relationships with all these former Democrat blue state voters who voted for Trump. And she goes out periodically, revisits them, and takes their temperature. And what she has found is that people are voting Republican not because they like the Republicans. They dislike the Democrats even more. But there isn't a lot of affection for either party right now. And so the clear beneficiary of that is Donald Trump. And where his voters are concerned, whatever he has to do to succeed, whatever he has to do, if he has to have dinner with Chuck and Nancy to get the wall built, fine and dandy, go for it. If he has to have dinner with Chuck and Nancy to get this fine and dandy. They are so desirous of what they consider to be the Washington establishment getting the message. They don't think electing Trump was enough to send the message. I think they're sitting out there thinking the Republicans still don't get it. They think Trump's temporary. They think they're going to be able to get rid of Trump. When they get rid of Trump, we'll get back to normal. And I think they think the Republicans don't realize how serious the situation is. That's what I heard in the last caller. And these Democrats and all their polls and their inability to do any damage to Trump whatsoever. And then the Rasmussen story with all these Republicans saying, I don't care if Trump goes out and works with Chuck and Nancy. If he has to work with Democrats, because they believe in Trump's agenda. That's why he was elected. He made no secrets about what it was, and they want it to happen. Now, you might be saying, but Rush, doesn't Trump realize that Chuck and Nancy don't want a wall? That's not what they're thinking. They think Trump is going to get the wall. They have no doubt Trump's going to get the wall, and that if he has to work with Chuck and Nancy to get it, whatever, he's going to get it. But if the Republicans are seen as the obstacle to Trump's agenda, they're going to bear the brunt of the wrath. And that is what's happening.